everybody. Audio check and video check here. Hello, hello.
Yeah, Sarah, that's a good description. It was less than ideal. On the other hand, I still have my oxygen addiction, so it could be worse. Okay, sound and video. Good. And I was over at my ear, nose, and throat doctor here in Helena today. So you can take a look at it and everything. And he said that last week, after my little frou-fra, they had some woman that had a somewhat similar situation, and there wasn't anybody in Montana that could handle her. They could fit her in or whatever. So they shipped her to Salt Lake City, 500 miles away. I mean, that's the way things work around here.
That is the minor drawback of living. Very minor, totally manageable. Not in it.
So say it was it seems kind of weird to get so excited about a nosebleed. But yeah, you're bleeding. And you can't put a tourniquet on it, anything like that. I won't tell Eva about that, Lars.
Lars, Arizona sucks rocks. This is a known fact.
But anyhow, so I seem to be doing okay. I am symptom-free. Healing seems to be going well. No side effects. Still a little bit lightheaded and stuff. I lost a fair amount of blood last week. So we'll see how I feel in a week.
Yeah, you gotta thaw out some more liver.
Yeah, I was thinking of that today. But anyhow.
You need to eat liver.
So, still got to get back up on the hill and get my camper. Lauren was saying he's got to come into town in the next few days to get fuel, fill the...
So you can go back with him.
So I could go back up with him and get the camper, bring it down here, and then clean it out. He said it looks like a murder was committed. It's like, yeah, it was ugly. Anyhow, so that seems to be okay. Eva's surgery is going to be next Wednesday, not in 2 days, but 9 days. No guarantees on the Monday evening live stream next week. Probably will, but if you don't see it, don't get all excited. It probably means we just had to go there a little early or something. Okay?
Or we were busy getting...
Yeah, whatever. So, if you don't see us next week, not necessarily any reason to get all upset. And same thing for the week after that, depending upon how fast Eva recovers and stuff. We may not be home yet. So, don't worry too much if in the next couple of weeks you don't see anything. You probably will in both situations, but there's no guarantees either one. Okay? And well, I understand that.
I'll survive.
Anyhow, so let's say we shall see what we shall see. When it comes to mining stuff, people might have noticed that last video I posted, I had something up my nose at the beginning of it. don't know if there's any pictures of my paste at the end, but I did not. So there was quite a delay between the two halves of that. And it was kind of frustrating because I got everything done, got the samples in the centrifuge tubes, and was waiting for things to settle when my nose decided to cut loose. So, 3 days, 3 or 4 days, whatever it was, wanted to get back and get it done. And the problem was, of course, that we saw some weird dissolution behavior in the first stuff, and I was assuming that was probably due to oxygen. And so I had taken steps to rectify it, rerun the test basically, and needed a spot test. Once I got back and I ran the spot test, hey Dave, how's it going? Thank you very much for everything, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Thank you again. That was so amazing of you.
Dave ran up there to pick us up in Billings and bring us home and everything, and helped out with some other stuff. So very much thank you, Dave. We very much appreciate it. Anyhow, when I ran the spot tests, everything looked pretty much the same. So then it was, okay, what's the limiting factor here? Since I was making up fresh solution to use for rinsing, there was about 5 grams of Eco Goldex going into the system at each stage. And so I thought I would basically start with fresh stuff, use a little more Eco Goldex as one test, take the other things that weren't showing much, and adding Eco Goldex to them and seeing what happened. And basic synopsis, with more Eco Goldex, all of a sudden I started seeing a lot more gold. Like, aha! Well, that's interesting. Now, I don't know if all the active Eco Goldex is getting eaten up by gold. I suspect there's other minerals in there, copper, silver, whatever. But the thing that's confusing is that the Eco Goldex was titrating as still having enough. I mean, ran the titration, we're getting concentrations similar to what we would use normally in leaching circuits. So it's like, still seems there's plenty here. I mean, it was more than we would normally use at the mill. So that was perplexing. And I went and took a fresh batch, and I added twice the Eco Goldex and twice the lime compared to when I started out that first time. And then once I started the bottle roll, I started taking samples out every hour and doing a new spot test. As soon as Eva gets back here, she can call that picture up and we can take a look at that together. But it wasn't what I expected either. It showed basically in hour 1, it was already real rich and virtually no change over the next 4 hours. At hour 5, it shows almost no gold, but I think that's an artifact of me forgetting to put the KD3 in the spot well. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's an artifact of bad technique. I did notice some other stuff though that led me to question whether or not the amount of KD3 is critical to getting maximum results on the spot test. And so I did another test, the next one, 12-hour test, I think it was, where I split the solution into two wells, same solution, put one sample in one well, one in the other. And then all I did was put 1 drop of KD3 in one and 2 drops of KD3 in another. Eva's working on getting it queued up here. It says a spot plate.
No, well, I'm trying to dump plastic.
Might want to
And
move.
I just fucked something up, okay? I probably completely lost it. I mean, it may be gone.
She's apparently arguing with electrons.
Yes, Mark, it's just keep doing what you're doing.
I am doing what I'm doing. What I'm doing is describing the thing you're supposed to be showing them, so it makes it kind of hard.
It may be gone forever, okay? I'm trying to get it back right now, but I don't know. And I was in the middle of going to the bathroom.
Don't worry about it that seriously, little one. Hey, just...
Yeah.
It's gone. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I have another real copy of it. Anyhow, you guys can call up it's the thumbnail. What? Well, not if it's already loaded up to YouTube. Knocking it off my computer isn't going to affect YouTube at all. Are you guys all still here? I haven't seen anything happening. Can anyone put in... I'm not talking to you. Okay, you're still there. Thank you. That's what I was wondering. Anyhow, actually I didn't put it as a thumbnail yet.
Yeah, it was a thumbnail on this slide.
On a YouTube something. Is that the one you put on this one?
Yes.
Okay, so you can just call up another window and look at it, and you'll see the spot plate that I'm talking about. The numbers that you see represent hours of bottle roll. The first one in the second row, you can see there's virtually nothing there. That's the one I think that I forgot to put the KD3 into. The lower two on the left, yep, that's the one right there.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you may not be able to, little. You can find it not. The lower two on the left are the exact same solution. The difference is the one in the corner has 1 drop of KD3, and the next one, there you go, has 2 drops of KD3. Okay? As you can see,
Not going to be the best view, guys, because
it'd be better if you could bring that over so I could read the comments more than the others.
well, if I do that, it covers their. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can't bring it over to here? There you go.
Yeah, and we now have a black box over half that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Thank you.
Anyhow, I can't read your comments at the moment. folks. So anyhow, say the two that say 12 were the literally exact solution. Same solution, out of the same tube at the same time. The only difference was the KD3. My assumption at this point, unproven, and you know what they say about assumptions, is that when you have a very rich solution, you may exhaust the KD3 before you completely precipitate the gold. I don't know. But you can clearly see a dramatic difference.
Oh, that would bear out my theory that I noticed before. I get far more what I would call gold, and in some ways more accurate results by using drops.
Yeah. What this means is it's important to use the same amount of KD3 in each well. Okay.
Hi, Mr. Virtue.
And then, if you look on the lower right corner, what happened there is at 18 hours, I took the previous sample, not that one before. At 18 hours, I took that sample, and I added 5 more grams of Eco Goldex to the bottle, and then rolled it for another 6 hours. And I got that one there on the lower right, which seems to have less in it. So we're still far from proving exactly what's going on. Until you can duplicate results, change a few variables, and still duplicate the results, you're really not sure what's going on. However, the thing that I find really interesting is if you look at the very top right, that, top left, that is a lot of gold in 1 hour. You know? So, very interesting. Now, part of the reason that I need to do these bottle rolls is also to get pregnant solutions so I can test extraction techniques. And what I'm going to do right now is I've got an electrowinning cell running at the moment. Okay? And
I'm going to take it back to
sure.
green.
And so the voltage I'm running is about 0.45 volts. I've got a carbon anode and a copper cathode. I'd prefer to go with a stainless steel cathode because the gold doesn't stick as well. But let me show you how it's working right now. Go fetch it.
He'll be right back, guys. He will be right back. He's in the middle of trying to do something.
It's coming off. Good. Okay. So, here we have my electrodes set up. Wow.
Yeah, you
Okay.
got it
One on the bottom is a carbon anode. This is a copper cathode. These are just some insulating spacers. And right there, wow, it's reversed. Anyhow, right in here, that's gold. Plating out.
Mr. Virtue, as soon as he shows you what's on the friggin' board so that I can get back to his picture, you'll see. He looks normal again.
Yep. But anyhow, so it is directly plating gold out of solution. Now, one of the problems with this particular setup is real simple, but the electrical flow is generally between these two and not on the outside here.
you'll notice that's plating. Look
What?
inside, it's all yellow.
Well, I'm working on trying to open it up. That's
yeah,
what
the
I was.
carbon's all yellow.
Well, it's probably not yellow. Probably more silver colored. Why? Because it's a cathode, not an anode. I mean, it's an anode, not a cathode. It
He's
should be.
opening it right now, and I'm going to put this back on normal.
Wait a minute. Actually,
ISCP.
which one did I put on what? I might have actually reversed it. You may be correct, little one.
I'm telling you, it's bright yellow. I'm right at it, dude.
Now, let me see if I can get this stuff off of here. Well, that looks pretty yellow to me, too. That looks pretty yellow also.
Better take a look.
This is also plating something on it. So it does appear that I have enough electrical conductivity to direct electrowin. Okay? That is the big question was the conductivity going to be enough so that we could actually plate a reasonable amount? And yeah, things are happening. Now, these are not the most efficient electrodes when it comes to surface area. Something like steel wool would give you vastly more surface area, but they're real simple electrodes. And so, just a second, let me check something. I think I may have reversed polarity.
He will be right back. He'll be right back, people.
Yes, I did reverse the polarity, which is interesting because that clearly looks like gold plating there.
Well, my question is, how hard will it be to get the material off this?
Oh, I don't know. About that hard. Nothing really plates to carbon that solidly. See what the loop. We have a loop up there. Actually, we should have two loops up there. But of course, hold on.
Sorry, guys. All his stuff is always... He'll be right back.
Yeah, we're doing this in real time here. I'm saying that looks like gold. This, on the other hand, for silver to me. Let me get the microscope. Sorry about all this. Okay. See how this looks. Yeah, you can see granules of metal that are stuck to the
Those look pretty
carbon. Yeah, that looks pretty silver. And I'm not a real good electrochemist. Maybe that the base metals are going on to the carbon. Gold is going onto the copper, because this looks like gold to me. That color is fairly diagnostic.
Well, that explains trash.
What trash business?
Well, you may have noticed that the media and social media posts were showing huge amounts of trash all over the street after the memorial service. You know, when the street was empty and, you know.
Oh, okay.
Well, it turns out they didn't have trash cans on purpose because the Secret Service didn't have the personnel to keep them all close. Okay.
Right.
They were told to leave their trash because there was a no bag outside.
Yeah.
Cleanup crews were there and ready to pick up trash as everyone in the building. And the trash was all removed by the time they exited the event. So
Okay.
all the videos, they're all over social media on the matter.
Anyhow.
You all right?
Yeah, just gonna go sneeze. So anyhow, direct electrowinning seems to be working to a certain extent right now. Again, I just got this thing set up, got it running like at 5 o'clock, or something like that. Didn't have a whole lot of time left, but that's quite interesting. And I'll be doing some more testing tomorrow. Hopefully I'll remember which polarity to do what. And might just reverse the cables because I had to change the clamp a little bit on this. So once I get, thank you, David. Once I get a few of the things tested, then I can start measuring parameters such as how much gold is depositing over what period of time. Then Eva can actually start firing up the new kiln. We got a new kiln from the boys, and it's a Vevor standard front load electric kiln. Gracious, tickles. And you got to be careful with this. And we'll see how well it works and how long it lasts. But we'll give you a good review on that also. What's your guess in terms of amount there? Looking maybe a couple milligrams? Most?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, the first whole do some over JD.
I'm terrified. Absolutely terrified. So anyhow, what I'll be doing is taking known amounts of solution to be what I did here. I took a beaker, put stir in it, and to wire up here and wire up here, and then just use the stirring to get the flow of the solution moving in a cylinder, and as it comes around, it flows right through between these. It is. So am I, Rob Bob. So is Eva. But I will then determine plating speed, optimum plating voltages, how fast to feed solution through an actual plating system, things like that. I can take this solution and run a test and take a sample to take to the lab before I start. And then once I run this and the amperage drops and everything, then I can take a test of the same solution and see how much gold I got, how barren it actually is. And at that point, I'll have enough numbers, enough parameters where I can estimate how much surface area of electrodes, what voltage, and everything else I need to have. Oh yeah, Mr. Virtue, it was fun with the people in the ER. It's always fun walking into an ER with blood dripping out of your face. It makes you the center of attention. Also, when I was in the ER, the one rhino rocket on the left side kind of fell out. I think it deflated. And they put a new rhino rocket on the right side just to try and, hey, if one cork ain't doing it, two corks might help. You know? I think I'm probably about a quart low. Seriously, David. But anyhow, now the installation of a rhino rocket is essentially taking something about that big and putting it up your nose. You say a little smaller than this, little one.
Yeah.
A little smaller than that. Let's see. That's a little more life size. That's a little smoother and more aerodynamic than a rhino rocket, but about the same size. And yeah, I'm going to be eating a lot of liver and stuff, Mr. Virtue, you bet.
Bizarre and unaccountable shit.
And as my long-suffering wife has found out, when you take me and you do that, I make noises. Generally fairly loud noises. Luckily, there's no profanity, because in order to have profanity, you have to be coherent enough to think in words. And the electrical impulses were moving on a much more basic level than speech at the time. And it was also kind of traumatic for my daughters, because once they said, hey, we're going to ship you out of state and do things to your head which have a low probability of, but can do some bad things. I wanted to call my daughters and my brother and let them know the situation and say, I love you, you know? And what shocked my daughters was the fact that I was crying at the time. Now, the crying was not from fear. The crying was from the emotional collapse of having rhino rockets installed. I think I can assert with relative confidence that this is worse than waterboarding.
Mr. Virtue, he always breathes through his mouth. He also chews with his mouth open. Dark.
But yeah, instead of dripping water up someone's nostrils, you just shove a solid object in and then inflate it to however much pressure you want. That's what they had to do to save my life. Not going to argue, not going to complain.
Oh,
But
great.
it's not an experience that's on my I really like to do that again list. Trust me. And I don't want to ever put Eva through that again if I can. I'm sure it was quite distressing for her.
Well, what was most distressing was the fact that, I mean, yeah, that we should have been there a lot earlier.
Well, it would have been nice, but as I say, apparently they can't just do like for whatever reason.
No, wait.
I have a feeling lawyers are involved in this. They can't just look up your nose and cauterize. Now, part of it is, if here's your head, you got these sinuses up here. And those cavities have complex topography, nooks, crannies, stuff like that. And according to the doctors, it's really hard to find the bleed. You know, when you're looking way up in here and around corners and this and that and the other, it just doesn't work out too well. You know? So, the safest way to do this is to thread a catheter up the arteries in the neck, find the spot here, and induce blood clots. But that wasn't too bad. I was unconscious for that.
Yeah, the thing is, this had over twice the probability of bad outcomes of his
Catastrophic
aortic graft.
outcomes.
Yeah. This was over twice as dangerous as his open heart surgery, people.
Yep. And I didn't get a helicopter ride out of it. It was a King Air. It was a twin turboprop. Woohoo! Nice smooth ride. Relatively quiet. You know? So, yeah, I did get a ride. Didn't see a whole lot, but I got a ride out of it. It was a nice day. Smooth flying. The crew did a good job. And they were also flying at a lower than normal elevation to keep the differential pressure between my blood vessel and the air as low as close as possible. I mean, I was definitely, I heard the flight crew talking with the medical crew and discussing those various things in terms of what elevation to fly and what cabin pressure to maintain. So they were very cognizant of the situation, and they were diligently working to mitigate the threat
Oh,
to me.
so now Sinclair is still saying no after he says.
Yeah. And when I was talking to the ENT here in Helena today, they had to ship a lady out to Salt Lake earlier, the end of last week after me, because they didn't have anyone who could do it.
An Alabama rat snake pretending to be a stick.
Not bad. Not a great imitation.
They do that kinky thing.
Yep. But anyhow, let's say, as an experience, you'll remember it. You're not really going to be eager to repeat it unless you're freaking crazy. But it's survivable, and you do what you got to do. Right now, I got to get myself back up to speed for Eva. She's got 9 days, and then she's going to need me 100% of the time. Be focused on her. My daughter's coming over in about 4 weeks to go fishing. I don't know if I showed you guys, but
YouTube may
I
shut off your.
I don't think so. She bought me some lures. And we're going to try and see how well they work. I suspect they're going to work pretty well. Got plenty of weight. They should cast pretty well. Drag's modest, so I think they're going to sink deep too. But we're going to go try the usual, but also try these things and see how well it works. Hello, Phoenix. So she'll be here.
Hi, Phoenix.
Like the 20th or something. And the plan is to go and go fishing for 3 or 4 days. Depending on Eva's condition, Eva may come camping with us. She may stay here. I may camp down there with Bonnie, or I may run back and forth every day. We'll just have to see. You know?
I need.
Okay. No problem. So anyhow, that's basically what the plan is for now. And then Eva's theoretically going to start radiation treatments sometime in November. And that's going to be rough. Be rough on her. I'm not sure which one. Let's see, there was a 357. There's a 38. Yeah. Oh no, there's a 32, I think. There's a 9mm. And what is this? Pretty hilarious. What caliber lure? This is a 38 special here. Here I think it's 357. That's 357. Come on. Go. That's a 9mm. I think this one's a 32. I don't know why he doesn't buy the best ammunition. He's buying Blazer. That's a 32 auto there. Yeah, it sure is hilarious just to look at them, but when you think about it, they might work just fine. So, you know, it's a cute idea, and we'll see how it works. But I say, whether we catch anything or not, it'll be fun just giving them a shot. Giving them a shot. Aha! I make funny. Ugh. In the meantime, I still have a lot of research to do to define with confidence what's going on and what. Hey, Chris. Yep. It appears tentatively that 10 grams of Eco Gold X per pound of these rich sulfides is enough to dissolve all the gold. Okay? We shall see. Now I got to start. The spot tests are cheap and fast, but they're not definitive. That's going to take some laboratory testing to kind of confirm and quantify everything. And then also working on the parameters of the electrolytic. So now here's something, Chris. As usual, doofus over here. Thinking, positive is the the good thing and negative is the bad one, you know. I grounded the I did the negative to the carbon. Now I was trying to make this the anode. They were spaced like this. This was the copper cathode. Well, the plan was to make it a cathode, but double checking, no, that's the red wire. So this would have been the anode, and yet look at what we got. We have what appears to be a fairly nice plating job of yellow metal. It does rub off. I can take this and rub it. Well, the other side rubbed off. This one doesn't so much. This is the off side. If you let it dry, it sticks better. But anyhow, it looks like gold was plating to the anode, whereas other stuff was working on the cathode. Now, does that make sense to you, Chris? And if so, why? Is this something we might exploit to our benefit to differentially electrowin the solution where the gold goes to copper, whereas maybe the silver and other stuff goes somewhere else? I'm not sure. But I'm not an electrochemist. And I forgot your friend's name, or his handle, rather. I'm sure he would look at it and go, well, yeah, this is what's going on, doofus. But I will be repeating the tests in a number of different parameters, in a number of different ways, and then testing solutions before and after. Once I get things working to where it looks okay, then I'll start testing solution before I run it, time how long I run it, test it after I run it, record how much surface area on the electrodes, what the voltage is, what the amperage is, and all that other stuff. Okay, so basically you're just saying that I got a nice clean surface there, and then it was cementing like it would on zinc. Is that what you're saying, Chris? Because it sure looks clean. That looks like some nice copper. I mean, some nice gold on that copper. Let's say it might be that, you know, when Doofus hooks the wires up wrong, he actually makes something useful happen. I'm not sure. But that looks like a pretty nice, clean gold deposit. Yeah, I say I did. I just got the very first test running about 45 minutes before the live stream. I was rushing like crazy just to get that doing something so I'd have some idea of what was going on. And the other question is, what are optimum electrode materials? Planning on using carbon, stainless steel, and copper for various configurations and see what happens. But that is direct electrowinning of the leach solution at around a pH 10.8, 10.9. Okay, Chris, I can do that. But I was running, well, let's see, what do we got here in terms of square inches? It's 2 inches wide. Quarters to 2.5 square inches running 0.54 volts at 0.2 amps. 0.2 or 0.02? Might have been 0.02. Pretty sure it's 0.02, Chris. But I was pretty pleased that I got. I mean, that's a lot better than we did with the stuff at the mill, Chris. On the other end, this has a lot more gold in it than the stuff at the mill. Theoretically, we should be running between 200 and 300 parts per million gold in this solution right here, if things kind of work the way they did before. Whereas at the mill, I think the most I ever got was 30 parts per million. So, as I say, I'm pretty encouraged by the initial results. It shows to me, and I think you'd agree, Chris, that it's reasonably feasible. That there's a high probability that we can tune this up to where it'll do the job we need. I believe so, Chris. I'd have to double check. Let me run back there and look at that. Looking at the decimal points on the displays, I believe you are correct, Chris. 20 milliamps at, what is that? 2.5 square inches. 1.25 times 2. Yeah, 2.5 square inches at 20 milliamps. Define percentage of what, Mr. Virtue? I'm unclear what you're referring to. The question is how rapidly will so many square inches of contact area plate so much gold? Yeah, I say I'm really not sure at this point about a lot of the parameters. This was literally done just before I came live stream. So about 2 milliamp per centimeter squared. Well, let's see. A centimeter is 2.5 per inch. So 1 divided by 2.5. 0.4 times 0.4. Let's see. So 0.4. That's 1, 2, 2 divided by 0.4. 5 centimeters one way. 1.5. 0.4. 3 the other way. Gotta write stuff down. Can't even remember stuff. 3 seconds. 3 2 divided by 0.45, so that's 15 square centimeters. So so it's 20 milliamps divided by 15. 1.3 milliamps per square centimeter. Oh, it's just trying to calculate. What would you like me to to try and get up to? Because no doubt I'm using a lot of voltage just to overcome resistance of the solution. What would you suggest my target amperage come to? How many? One point five. 15 square centimeters. Squared. And what would you want me to try and push, Chris? How many milliamps per square centimeter do you think would be a good current flow? Because I got plenty of voltage adjustment. I was just ballparking it. You think I should be up trying to get 5 milliamps per square centimeter or something? 4? What do you think? 10? Just give me a number and I'll shoot for it tomorrow. Get things adjusted here and see what happens. Yeah, I understand, Chris. Say, if you give me a target amperage and a maximum voltage, then I can use that as my starting point. See, folks, what we're trying to do is chemistry without the chemicals. When you start throwing electrons at things, you make chemistry happen. And electrochemistry, as it's called, can do a lot of things that regular chemistry has problems with, but sometimes can also do, such as plating gold onto copper is not extraordinary. You know? So the problem is, though, you can make things happen that you couldn't make happen with chemistry. And so what Chris and I are talking about, as you put more voltage, less than 1.2 volt, less than 1.2 volt, okay, and what current density would you like me to shoot for, Chris? Because right now I'm only running at 0.45 volts. So I got a lot of range to go up there. That's for sure. Now, folks, this is a lot higher voltage than we would do on a stripping circuit because that solution is a lot more conductive. With the stripping circuit, we run 0.36 volts. There might be some place it's a little more optimum, but it works just fine. And so this solution is a lot less conductive. You're not going to get near as much current flow. So we're probably going to run into limits of where we can push the voltage before 5 to 6 or 5 milliamps per centimeter squared. 5 milliamps per centimeter squared. Okay, I got some good starting numbers here, and I shall give it a shot and see what happens. And by next week, we should have at least a couple more videos on what good parameters are for this source. always remember, it is ore dependent. You can't reliably take anything from one process flow and just translate it to another one unless you have a high level of confidence it's a very similar material. Okay? That's one way to really get in trouble. Another way to really get in trouble is just assume something's going to work without doing laboratory testing first. Because as you can see, things are not going smoothly, but there's no reason to panic. The amount of materials that I'm using is very small. The ability to modify the apparatus or the parameters is very easy.
What I find interesting here is we see very much here.
Yeah, it could be something else.
Yeah. Right.
One recipe cannot be used on all. That is correct, David. You'll start with the best guess recipe. Okay? Try it, see if it works. If it works reasonably well, then vary it a little bit both ways and try it again. Again, my samples I'm running are 500 gram samples. That's it.
Well, you see, we need to talk about something devastatingly important. Like, everybody needs to tell me they have seen the video of Monty and he is the most gorgeous snake ever.
Eva wants to know whether you think that her snake baby is cute, you know? But yeah, David, this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Think of it as, say, tuning an engine. You know, the old engines that didn't have computers and stuff. You had certain procedures that would work just fine on one engine. If you tried to do the exact same thing to a different engine, the same timing advance, the same number of turns on the adjustment screw in the carburetor and things like that, David says he's a cutie pie. Sometimes it'll work reasonably well. Sometimes it's wildly off. The way you do that is you just, okay, this is what I'm going to try. I'm going to try 8 degrees before top dead center, put the idle screws in all the way, back them off 2.5 turns. Then you fire up the engine, you see how it runs. And then you make adjustments from there. Same thing with this. We have a material. Now I actually have a sample of one batch that was ran through the mill on one day. Okay? It's likely to be relatively similar to other batches on other days. No guarantee whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm remembering at Montana B when we had 3 different rocks that looked exactly the same.
And assayed totally different, yeah. This is where you can quickly and easily get in a lot of trouble, is to make an assumption and go from there without testing the assumptions. Okay? Test. Small scale. Again, I'm doing this with 500 gram samples. And see what happens. Once I get the spot test dialed in, saying, okay, this is what I think is happening here, then I'll take solution and correlate it to spot tests. Yeah, and then the temp changed. Exactly. Lars says he thinks Monty looks like a puff adder. He's much more slender than that, Lars.
Monty is an exceptionally tense, normal morph.
Well, they call it a normal morph, but that didn't sound...
Or a wild morph. If you want
wild morph. I thought classic was much better, but then I thought heirloom sounds even more classy. It's an heirloom morph, you know? But anyhow, so let's say the one lesson that's most important to learn from all this is reality is complicated and it likes to mess with you. Likes to mess with you a lot. And unless you have a lot of training and experience and testing to know exactly what it is you're dealing with, not only just this much gold, but what is the rock it's in, what are the other minerals there, etc., etc., etc. Okay? It's hard to predict with very much assurance at all. It's a lot easier to just test it to see what happens. And then vary the parameters a little bit. You know? Let's suppose, I mean, right now, I seem to have a number of 10 grams of Eco Gold X per 500 grams of sample at a pH of 9.8. Seems to work. Okay, the number, I mean, the spots are all look pretty consistent. So I'll do it again, make sure it behaves the same, and that, you know, now I'm putting the same number of drops in each well, and then I need to cross-reference it to actual laboratory testing. Exactly, David. And it's very easy to get frustrated with the time and effort required to do the testing. But I can take this and change it in 30 minutes at a cost of a couple of bucks, and then change a parameter. Yes, and I'm taking good notes. And change a couple of parameters, do 4 or 5 different tests in one day, and try and refine things. You deal with a 1 ton an hour mill and such, yeah, life's going to suck big time. So always go with the laboratory scale first. That's by far the safest way to do it. And that's what I'm doing here. Because when I make a recommendation, this is what is going to work on that ore, I want to be right. When they go and purchase the equipment and the chemicals and start the methodology, I want to see success. This is where I want to see failure. Okay? This is where you want to see failure. This is where you want to have things go, what the hell is going on there? Because it's cheap, quick, and easy to fix right here. Okay? And this is why you got to test it end to end too. I'm not only testing how to dissolve the gold, but how to get the gold out of the solution. Okay? It's end to end. You have to test every significant phase of the operation. Otherwise, you're really rolling the dice, which can be catastrophic. So, anyhow, that's the most important thing to learn, is figure out a way to do it quick and cheap. That's why the spot test is so easy. You know, I'm going to see, now it's Chris's idea that we're getting clean copper and then just direct cementation on it. Well, if that's true, that can also work as a test. Okay? You can take some copper. We actually found it, what was it in the glass?
Stained glass.
The stained glass window
tape.
strip. Yeah, it's a little, like 1/4 inch wide copper strip. It just comes in a roll. Just perfect to snip, clean, dip in the solution.
Well, it may have an adhesive on it. It's called copper.
Yeah. I say it may be coated with something. I don't know. But nevertheless, we could always cut it out of copper like this. You can also just take wire. You know, just clean wire. But if you can take copper, dip it into your solution, wait a particular time, and take a look at it and go, I've got the gold out of that, or there's still a bunch of gold in there, or wow, that looks really sweet, man. That's really helpful. We spent a lot of effort developing things like the spot test, the copper strip test, and things like that for that very reason. So that we can do test after test after test in a short period of time, real frickin' cheap. As in a penny a test. Because that's how you find the problems and fix the problems rapidly and cheaply. Because you have to have data, you have to have feedback. And so that's one of our big efforts, is to find out, hey, how do you test this stuff? You know, what can you do to make it work? You know, we shall see. That's about it at the moment that I can think of. Electrowinning, dissolution. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. So my head seems to be doing okay. Eva's starting her fight in about 9 days. And we're making progress on these sulfide concentrates, figuring out how to handle them. And again, currently we're not even considering roasting them, because it doesn't appear to be necessary to roast them to get better than 85% recovery. And roasting is another time-consuming, expensive, labor-intensive step. So for now, the idea is we'll just leach it, stockpile the stuff, test how well it worked, and then test roasting and see whether or not it makes any sense. Also, Dave Vanderwall sent me information on a processing facility in Arizona that supposedly is set up to handle sulfide concentrates or sulfide ores. That would be interesting to check out too. I don't think it applies to this particular operation, but it could apply to other stuff in the future. Anyhow, does anyone have any questions or subjects they want addressed at this point? It's nice to actually be in the lab making progress.
Well, I still say Monty deserves more attention.
Oh well, he's a snake. If he really wanted attention, he'd show his ass more often. Yes, for this process, I'm using deionized water to make sure there's nothing that I'm throwing in there that's going to screw things up. That's correct, Chris. As Chris points out, there may be other ways of digesting the sulfides or oxidizing the sulfides besides roasting. I don't know. That's the sort of thing we'll worry about next. Right now, we have a process, pretty good recovery. 85% plus is considered pretty good recovery in most situations. Sometimes they can get like 95% plus, but 85% is not bad. On a small scale, that's pretty good. So if we can do that, then in many cases, the exact same tools are required for the other thing. Yes, Brian, possibly a pre-leach. Possibly something in with the leach. If it doesn't destroy the Eco Goldex, a strong oxidizer. I mean, right now, I have available to me hydrogen peroxide, potassium permanganate, OxyClean, and potassium nitrate as oxidizers to test. Laura says, Monty gets my accolades. He's a very cute and attentive snake. Yep.
Wasn't it cool to see the way he was so intrigued by the Tony Bowls?
Is that potassium permanganate, Chris? I'm not aware, but I see potassium and I see manganese in there and oxygen. So I'm thinking you're probably talking about potassium permanganate, but then the H2O2, that would be hydrogen peroxide. So magnesium oxide, ferroacetic might be worth considering. Low concentration. See, there's an endless litany of possibilities. So right now, trying to keep it simple and effective, and then optimize later. And we're also going to be testing different types of leaching solutions. Right now, the Eco Goldex is kicking ass. Okay. Right now, the guy who sells the Eco Goldex hasn't got back to me.
He was on vacation until September 7th.
You know, so there's a lot of parameters that can affect your decision on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So, as I say, we got a lot of stuff to test, which will be good because that'll keep me busy while Eva's healing up, and I can stay right here with her and be, whatever she needs, while still having interesting things to do. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation. Also, somebody, I'm not exactly sure who, because they did it anonymously, sent us a rather substantial a Costco card, which we started using today. And whoever you are, I appreciate it. It came from Well Wisher in Madison, Wisconsin. Okay. And I'm not sure who you are, but thank you very much. We really appreciate it. What about heating liquids? Yep, that's another possibility, David. On the other hand, it looks like I'm getting essentially complete dissolution in less than an hour at room temperature. If that is the case, why the hell would you heat it? You're adding a lot of complexity and cost. 1 hour retention time is like super quick. So, again, we shall see what we shall see. Yeah, and pressure oxidation. There's all kinds of possibilities. But if you got something simple, quick, and cheap, start doing that first and start making money. Yeah, Brian. Let me go get that spot plate if it's dry. I think it is.
He'll be right back.
Here's the spot plate. Look familiar? 1 hour, 2 hours. See how little change there is? That number 5, I think, is an artifact of, I forgot to put the KD3. Number 6, I believe, is an artifact of putting one drop in instead of two, you know. And so I say that's fine. As a kind of average rule on a small operation, if you got a 24-hour cycle, that'll be fine. You know, we'll go ahead and do things one day and let it run until sometime the next day, and then undo it. And you know, there's all kinds of things you can do. But if it's dissolving fast enough, then there's no need to do anything more. I mean, with this spot plate, looks like after 3 hours, doing pretty nice. And somewhere between 12 and 18 hours seems to be the absolute maximum. So, okay, you come in the morning, you load your batch, you set it going, come in the next morning, dump your batch. You know, you don't need any more speed than that. It's kind of like the person that's using a high precision rifle to shoot deer at 100 yards. It's like, you don't need a high precision rifle to shoot deer at 100 yards, you know? And so don't let unimportant considerations guide you. Do the math. Does it make sense? If not, don't worry about going after fractional decimal points if there's not a good reason for it. Okay? I mean, if you got 500 ounce to the ton ore, yeah, I'll worry about the difference between 99 and 99.5% recovery. Damn right. But this is running 5 to 6 ounces to the ton, so it's not that critical. Any other subjects, questions, observations, inquiries, stuff? Yep. Chris is absolutely right. Your best bang for the buck. And again, just don't worry so much about how loud the bang is. It's what's the bang for the buck. If you get 95% the bang for one tenth the buck, quite often that's the best way to go. It's the net profit that matters, not the gross the net smelter return. It's the net profit that's important. And so costs in both consumables, capital expenditures, and labor are all important. All of those things add up. So if you can cut your consumables, if you can cut your labor costs, if you can cut your capital expense, hey, you don't have to get quite as good a recovery to make more sense to do it that way, whatever that way is. And I have a lot more work to refine this, ready to go. Okay? But I'm doing the best I can. I suppose I can take that computer with me to Missoula, right? Yeah. Should be able to keep up and stuff. Anyhow, so that's what we've learned so far. We've got a lot more to learn. And then implement the laboratory findings. In our case, the scale up is going to be relatively modest as opposed to a big mine. You know, a big mine, you've got probably 2 or 3 more iterations before you get to the point where you're designing a mill. Hey, Red Wing. Because when you scale up a large amount, things change. In this case, we're going from a 1-pound batch to maybe a 100-pound batch, with a lot of things extremely similar. So it should be pretty predictable. But if, say, this was a normal operation, you start laboratory scale, then you go to kind of a test scale, then a pilot scale, then maybe a small production scale, and then full production scale. Okay? There's just a whole number of iterations. And it's not just because people are freaking nervous and I don't want to be the guy that screwed this up. It's not going to work as you predict. It's gonna mess with you. So figure it out as you go. Assume that reality is trying to throw a monkey wrench into the spokes of your bicycle. It's a lot safer. Oh. How's it going, Red Wing? I didn't have time to look at your last video. But what I've been seeing doesn't look too bad. You know?
Hi, Gold Orange Gems.
How's it going?
Hi, Red Wing.
Yeah. Since we got a couple people, Red Wing and Gold Ore and stuff, just showed up. Just a quick review on stuff. My nose seems to have stopped bleeding. It took a life flight 200 miles plus to do it. Then Dave Vanderwall had to come fetch us back 3 or 4 days later. That was about a 500-mile round trip for Dave, by the way. Montana be big. But so far, there haven't been any... I don't know if there's been any complications at all. I seem a little dizzy, but that may just be lack of blood. But that worked out pretty well. Eva goes in for her cancer surgery in about 9 days. And that'll, of course, be #1 priority for a while. Yeah, that would not be good, Gold Ore. Oh, it doesn't take too much, Gold Ore. But, so that worked out. And it turned out that, as far as I can tell, pending confirmation, the reason my dissolution wasn't going real well seemed to be just an inadequate amount of Eco Goldex Lixivant. Once I fix that, it starts dissolving pretty fast and effectively. And I finally have enough solution to start testing how to get the gold out. And yeah, I'm on Plavix because of the heart attack last spring where I've got stents in my heart here. And so the electroplating directly out of solution has got a pretty good initial test. Seemed to work pretty well. Well, I'm feeling much better, Red Wing.
But more importantly, at the moment, gold is $3,748.80.
Not bad.
Silver is $43.84. And silver futures went over 44 today. Oh, and Monty ate his biggest meal ever when we got home, 17.5 grams. I just hope his weight has gone up more than it.
Correct, Chris. about 2% Eco Gold X in solution. So that seems to be adequate to dissolve everything. We get pretty good recoveries in just a couple hours, but it seems to max out at between 12 and 18. So I'll need to redo the tests and, again, duplicate everything, then change a parameter and duplicate it again. That's the safe way about it. That's basically it. And Monty the Python has been a good focus for Eva's attention under the current circumstances. Gives her maternal instinct something to focus on, and that's good to see. Any other questions or suggestions or anything? From a value standpoint, delivered here, the Eco Gold X was running about $6 a pound.
Yeah.
And so 6 divided by 454 equals 0.01. About 1.5 pennies a gram. So 15 cents in Eco Gold X to get $7-8 worth of gold. That pencils out nicely. That'll work. It's certainly not a critical parameter. Say in this particular test here, I was using 4 grams of lime also, but lime's really cheap. So, not a problem. Anything else? And thanks again, Chris, for all the help. You're a much better chemist and electrochemist than I am, so I do appreciate all the assistance in terms of, this for tomorrow. You can get some rubber bands. Easier tape. Yeah, that test electrolytic cell seemed to work pretty well. Not super efficient, super fast, but it's real simple. And when I'm done talking here, I'll go back there, set it up, and try and get those parameters we were looking for. Chris, let's see. If we got 5 milliamps per centimeter squared and 15 square centimeters, so 15 times 5, 75 milliamps. And see what happens there. Oh. Okay. Anything else before we call it a night, everybody? Honey Bunny logged onto a video last night, told me she wouldn't be here today, so that's not surprising. I haven't seen. I don't know if Eva can show you guys some cores that Rock Butcher sent us pictures of, but I wish they were mine.
You know me, I love cores.
Yeah, I'll do that too. I got two of these. So I'm gonna definitely try that also. And then when I get stainless steel, should be here any day, I'll go ahead and also see. I mean, just what is that? We know we're not going to use carbon for a cathode. So we have 3 different cathodes, 2 different anode combinations. What is that? 6 different possibilities or
Yeah,
something?
something along those lines.
Thank you, Mr. Virtue. But anyhow, so let's say that's what we're doing, and as I make progress, I'll keep people appraised, and we'll go from there. Also, for people who showed up late due to Eva's surgery, we may not have a live stream next week, and we may not have a live stream the week after.
And if we do have one next week and the week after, the odds are they short, because I'm probably, the week after, I'm probably not going to want to be sitting at the.
I may just go back to the old YouTube method, without all this fancy stuff. I'll see. But anyhow, we'll do what we can, but
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be well, we got loads and loads of things to test, which is good. It'll keep me busy and my mind occupied.
Thank you, Gold Orange Gems. I
Thank you.
appreciate prayers.
So, anyhow, that's basically the situation. And got lots of things to do, but I've got to work very weekly because they said I can't worry about, I can't do anything that could spike my blood pressure. So
Thanks, Rob Bob, working on it.
Yeah. So lab work I can do. We shall see. All righty. I think we'll go ahead and call it a night then. Thank you, Muscle Up. We appreciate that. Don't worry about me. I'm doing fine. He was the one that needs help at this point. I made it through, and things seem to be going good. And thank you all for the help and support. And we'll just do the best we can. So happy prospecting, and keep it safe out there.